out. Get in there, Valtteri.
Traditions.
Bottas. He's had a bit of a stinker of a season so far, I think you can all agree. And after that abysmal performance at the Hungarian, setting off a chain of events, resulting in 4 cars going off, 2 retirements, and really helping out Hamilton in the championship, I think we can firmly say that Bottas 4.0 is dead, well and truly. And I don't think we're going to see 5.0 in the cars next year either. Let me tell you why.
It's Valtteri Bottas! Valtteri Bottas!
Bottas took out both Red Bull cars.
Opportunity to win the race.
Kilometers per hour, what's that, 180 odd miles per hour.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are discussing whether or not Bottas should be replaced at Mercedes. As always, if you agree or disagree with anything I've said, let me know in the comments below so we can get this debate started. I really love hearing what you guys have to say about all of this. Anyway, let's get on with the point of this video. And I want to start off by arguing Bottas's case for why he shouldn't be replaced. The W12 has had several issues from the off that have resulted in Mercedes starting the championship on the back foot, something that has never happened since they started winning all the championships in 2014 at the start of the turbo hybrid era. With the regulation changes that have come into effect this year, namely trimming the rear floor, it has led to a rather large portion of the rear downforce being lost, an area where Mercedes was particularly strong, and which allowed them to run such high levels of downforce last year without compromising too much straight line speed. Of course, Mercedes aren't the only ones who are affected by these regulation changes. In fact, pretty much every low rake car has been made worse off compared to high rake cars. For those of you who don't know what high or low rake setup is, it's essentially the difference between the ride height from the front and rear of the car. Red Bull is notable for running high rake, i.e. the rear of the car sits much higher than the front. Mercedes, on the other hand, run a low rake setup, so the difference is much smaller between front and rear ride height. And this essentially means that it's much harder to get downforce from the floor of the car. Having a large area of the floor cut away has resulted in a large amount of the downforce they had being lost, and hence reducing their performance. Most notably, Aston Martin have really struggled with these last minute regulation changes, which is understandable considering the fact that they're currently in the process of upscaling and poaching every member of technical staff from Mercedes and Red Bull, so they aren't able to entirely focus on development. But while the car has certainly been more of a handful this year, we've still seen a monumental battle between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton for the Drivers' Championship. Meanwhile, Bottas has been hemorrhaging points for the team, which is costing them dearly in the Constructors' Championship. His saving grace so far has been that Perez has also been having a few very off races recently, meaning that he hasn't been maximising the points he could get in that second Red Bull car. But I don't think this trend is going to last all season, so Bottas really needs to jump on it. If we look at his finishing positions for the first 11 rounds of this season so far, they've been 3rd, 18th, 3rd, 3rd, 19th, 12th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 17th. Compare that with the first 11 races in 2020 and the results were very different, placing 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 11th, 3rd, 3rd, 2nd, 5th, 1st, 19th, 2nd. So far he's got no wins in 2021 compared to 2 in 2020, 1 second place compared to 3 in 2020. He's got more third places, to be fair, in this year than he did last year, and he got a 4th compared to a 5th in 2020. But what stings the most is that he's been out of the points 4 times compared to just 2 in 2020. Clearly then, something isn't working for him. At the start of the season, I might have said that it was the car that was the issue, but while Bottas has almost been overtaken by Russell twice now in a race, Hamilton has been fighting at the sharp end of the field with an identical car. So it's starting to make me wonder if Bottas is actually the issue. So let's find out. In all fairness to him, he has had a fantastic career in the junior Formula before joining F1. He started karting from the age of 6, coming through the ranks and making it into the national karting squad, winning 3 titles. He moved up into Formula Renault, winning both the 2008 European and Northern European Cups, winning 17 races from 28 starts. He moved up to GP3 and won the title in his first attempt, which is very impressive. And then finally he was picked up by Williams to make his full-time driver debut in Formula 1 in 2013. He's had a successful career, even with Mercedes, but I do fear that he's losing his edge. One of the most notable memories I have of Bottas was at the British Grand Prix in 2014 or 15, when he and Felipe Massa jumped both a Mercedes from the second row at the start in slippery conditions. It was truly like masterclass stuff from both of them. If only he could have got a start like that in Hungary. So, it's not Bottas. He's a fantastic driver. But when you're teammates with Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion and the most decorated Formula 1 driver ever, it's easy to be overly criticised when you do make mistakes. And when you're less successful, the mistakes you make tend to stick. For example, not many people remember Hamilton driving into the back of some cars in the pit lane, or Verstappen taking himself out at the Monaco Grand Prix, crashing into Grosjean. But I'm pretty sure that everyone will remember Mazepin spinning at the second corner of Bahrain in his first race.
Are you okay?
The point is that when you compare a racing legend to someone with a normal F1 career, then it always makes them look worse than they are. And that's what's happened to Bottas. But that's not the only reason that he's under pressure for losing his seat, because after all, he wouldn't need to worry about making these mistakes if there wasn't someone waiting at the sidelines ready to jump in and take his place. But there is, and his name's George Russell. Like Bottas, George has had a very decorated career prior to Formula 1, but what makes him different is that he was specifically chosen as a Mercedes junior driver. Bottas wasn't. This makes Valtteri expendable, just like Perez is expendable to Red Bull because he isn't part of their driver program. Mercedes have spent money, time and effort helping George through his career. This means that it is a liability to let him go after all of that investment. But why would they want to let him go? He won the F2 Championship in arguably the most spectacular way, going up against the likes of Lando Norris and Alex Albon, who's better than you think by the way, in equal machinery. That's impressive. Personally, I believe that George Russell is the best young driver on the grid. I think he's up there in terms of performance with Verstappen, albeit with a much calmer head. And his sportsmanship is absolutely amazing. I mean, looking at the last race in Hungary, he was willing to sacrifice his own race, knowing full well that Mercedes were going to be looking on, making a decision potentially over the summer break, whether to pick Bottas or Russell, just so that he could protect Nicholas Latifi in the other Williams, so that the team could score points. What a man. He's in a very similar situation to that of Ferrari in 2018, who had Leclerc at Sauber with Raikkonen at Ferrari, maybe not performing as good as he could be. I do think that now is the time for George to make the step up to the big boy seats. He's been incredibly patient, but he does have to say enough is enough at some point. He's literally dragging a Williams into Q3 for fun at this point.
Genuinely on pace for the first time as a Williams driver as well.
And if his outstanding performances in the Williams weren't enough, he basically beat Bottas in a Mercedes last year at the Hungarian Grand Prix when he replaced Hamilton. What a dart go that was.
Looks like rear left puncture.
Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is that Russell is ready. He should take that step up to Mercedes. And with Bottas having very mediocre races at the moment, it seems like as good an opportunity as any to make the switch. As much as it seems cruel and unfair, racing is a business with contracts. And if Bottas isn't keeping his side of the deal, then he doesn't get the seat. Simple as that. So, what do you think? Will Russell replace Bottas at the end of the season? Will he replace him before? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, stay frosty. Peace. Why did I do that? I don't know why I did that.